So, no DLC for Tears of the Kingdom, which is a little ridiculous. You have a game like Scarlet and Violet, which is already a pretty much complete game. It just got DLC, and in fact, it's getting another DLC soon. It got DLC. Why is Tears of the Kingdom not getting DLC? I mean, Ionuma said that, oh, it's like we've already done what we can and blah 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 in the stories. No, you didn't. No, you didn't. You introduced a race of people, and we still know next to nothing about them. We know the vague general idea about them. They came from the sky. They, were proficient with magic and technology. They had secret stones. Um, but what did they look like? Because you can't say they all look the same, because apparently, from what we saw, they don't look the same. Rauru and Minoru are siblings. They look nothing alike. Rauru is more like a goat type thing, and Minoru is more like an alpaca llama kind of thing. She's got her long neck. So clearly they're based off of different animals. What did the other Zonai look like? What about the heroes aspect? You do all the shrines in the game, and they drop a huge, massive lore bit on you. Like, oh yeah, you know that tapestry from the Breath of the Wild? Well, this is the ancient hero from that tapestry. And then nothing. Nothing. We know nothing about it. We don't know his name. We don't know we a huge lore drop, and we get no explanation. Are we going to get anything about it in the next game? Probably not. What about the dragons? I've said before, and I've heard many people saying this while watching their streams playing the game. What about the dragons? Clearly, they were people who ate the secret stones. The aesthetics between them, Ganondorf, and Zelda after they turned into dragons are exactly the same. Clearly, they were people once, whether it be Zonai or just people that the Zonai gave the stones to. What happens to them? We could have had a chance to, if they were in fact all Zonai, that means the Zonai are still around, and there's 3 Zonai still there. Imagine having this entire quest line where you're learning more about the history of the Zonai. 2 games, we know next to nothing about them. Twilight Princess introduced us to, the Twilight Realm and the people living there. We know more about them than we do the freaking know of the Zonai. And that was 1 game, and that was Twilight Princess. We know more about Midna and her people than we do of the Zonai. So, uh, the dragons, Zonai, Ganondorf would have been cool, or something simple. Just add more, geoglyphs to the world, and about what about the depths? We know that the Zonai lived in the heavens, came from the heavens, apparently. They lived on land. They clearly lived underground for a little bit. So I understand the geoglyphs were kind of like from Zelda with their tears and all that. But there should be a way of introducing memories and everything into the to the depths that don't need Zelda's tears. Where we can go down there and see things from when they were, because there's Zonai tech down there. There's Zonai architecture down there. They clearly lived in the depths for a time. Why aren't we told more about that? The ancient hero. It's like, oh yeah, that ancient hero who you guys thought was Link, and clearly it wasn't. Well, at least traditional Link. We know it's a Zonai Link. Be funny if his name was actually Link. But yeah, that guy from the tapestry in Breath of the Wild that everyone was so curious about? Yeah, it's actually this guy. Who is he? Well, you're not gonna find out. So there is plenty they could do. The Triforce. People have been wondering, where's the Triforce? I mean, the Triforce was represented in the game in multiple ways. at the very end when Zelda's being turned back into Zelda. You know, you had Link, Rauru, and Sonya, which represented power, courage, and wisdom. Link representing courage, Rauru representing power, Sonya representing wisdom. You had your Triforce right there. Um, and given that every Link is still technically the chosen champion of the goddess, you know, this Triforce and the goddesses and everything are still kind of entwined with that. Even though you can say, oh, well, no, it's more because of Demise's curse and all that, uh, but yeah, the Triforce was represented numerous places, numerous times, whether it be that final scene or, you know, with some architecture, you know, statues and stuff with a boar and dragon, owl. So the Triforce was represented some kind of way. Not to mention, obviously, the royal family still had it emblazoned on their clothing. And so, but I think, well, the Triforce, I think it's a simple answer. It's as simple as the royal family just got tired of the bloodshed. They had this all powerful artifact, the Triforce, that caused so much bloodshed. So many wars would break out because of this damn thing. And most of it was because people knew where it was. They knew it was in the sacred realm. So, in order to prevent it from, you know, from this happening, it's like, well, us, the royal family, we need to forget completely about the Triforce. Stop writing about it. Stop telling, you know, family about it, and just let it fade. Just let it fade into memory and just fade into legend. You know, they're still going to have the creation story of the three golden goddesses, but the Triforce and its whereabouts, and it's going to be completely faded into legend. And if people believe it's just a story, they're less inclined to go looking for it. Good example is Ganondorf. Ganondorf, when because he heard about the secret stones, he thought they were just a story. And then what happened? He saw Rauru's in action. He looked at it and he said, Secret Stone of the Zonai. Huh, how interesting. At that moment, he saw that they weren't just a myth, they weren't just a legend, that they actually existed. He saw one firsthand. So what did he do? I'm going to take it. He steals Sonya's, he becomes the Demon King, and everything becomes messed up. So sometimes you just need to do what you need to do to keep powerful, just extremely powerful artifacts out of the hands of evil people. Hence why the dragons were said to be spirits instead of other Zonai, because what happens if you wrote down on that tablet or, you know, written down, or whoever tells you that, oh yeah, they became dragons because they consumed powerful stones that amplify your power, and if you eat them, you become a dragon. What do you think people would do? They would go looking for them. And what would happen? More bloodshed. So, um, there are stories that can still be told. It's just, I guess they just don't feel like telling them. Again, Pokemon has freaking DLC. Pokemon, Scarlet and Violet, while an interesting game and a lot of the Pokemon are cool and Paldea is gorgeous, it's still not as interesting as Tears of the Kingdom. And it has two DLC. One came out, we're still getting the other one, the Indigo disc or whatever with Terapagos. But you're saying that Tears of the Kingdom has told all the stories it can? No, no, it didn't. I mean, it's a shame. It's a shame. You know, it's because now we're never. I mean, unless they create a third game in that same world, we're not going to learn anything about the Zonai. We're not going to find out anything more about the ancient heroes aspect. We're not going to learn anything more about, you know, Ganondorf or Secret Stones or what happened with Zelda and Link afterwards. I mean, we see the sages, the new sages, Tulin and all of them. They have the stones. I mean, what great way than to have a DLC about them? But no, we've told all the stories we can. Just a shame. It's a shame. You have all these areas that can introduce some really cool characters, some really cool new stories. And in fact, I saw a video where there's a part out of bounds, like way out of bounds. Like there's this huge landmass out of bounds. You can actually walk on it. You don't go over there for anything. There's a Yiga that's over there that pops up. What's it there for? Was it planned DLC, like a landmass for planned DLC that was scrapped? Because why would a Yiga just pop up over there? Um, but there is stories that they can tell. It's just they just don't want to. They just seem like they don't want to tell it. You know, and it's like, at the end of the game when you're fighting Ganondorf, you can take pictures of him, but then they get added to the compendium and all that. But what's the point? You reset. You finish the game and it sends you back to before you fight him. So why would they even add a ability to take Ganondorf's picture unless they had intentions to allow you to keep that picture after you beat him? Same thing with the quest completion. What's the point of completing the quest if, at the end it's like, oh yeah, we're just going to send you back to before? It's stupid. It's like they clearly had something in mind, but they're like, no, we're not going to do it. We don't think you deserve it. But anyway, no DLC. But if there was a DLC, what would you hope to see in it? Me, like I said, Zonai, the dragons. Because again, we know more about people in the Twilight realm after only one game than we do these about the Zonai after two. That's kind of pathetic. So yeah, what kind of DLC would you like to see? Do you hope there's like a third game in this like Hyrule, or do you want it to be completely different? What do you hope to see in the next game if it is in this whole area that we're used to? Because I think they said something about you kind of using that kind of blueprint, that kind of Hyrule for future games because it's effective. It works. It's a great Hyrule, and I would love to see, say, Ocarina of Time's Hyrule, uh, in that aspect, or Majora's Mask. Imagine a Termina in Breath of the Wild style, or Tears of the Kingdom rather, having this huge open world where you're not just taking like a 30 seconds to go from one place to another, where you know you have to think of clever ways to traverse the area because it takes a while. The beauty of Majora's Mask combined with the expansive land of Tears of the Kingdom. Perfection. But anyway, that's going to do it for me. You guys know the drill. I'll see you guys later. Bye, guys.